All parties in the matter of DeMars versus Bona, step forward, please.
Food server Janice DeMars is suing her ex-boyfriend, computer technician Rockford Bona, for an unpaid loan to start a business. Rockford says the money wasn't a loan, it was an investment.
Mr. Morris, you and Mr. Bona were in a relationship several years ago, and you claim that you made a loan to him. He was starting up a new business. You want that money back. How much did you loan him?
$5,000, Your Honor.
Mr. Bona says that this was never a loan. This was an investment that you made in his business. I've read your papers very carefully. I want you to tell me when you gave him the money and tell me about the circumstances surrounding you giving him the money.
Okay. I met him in 1998, and July 23rd, 1999, I was over at Rocky's house, and we discussed a loan about him creating some software. So I went home, got the money, and put it in the bank. Jim came with me. So I do have a witness. I have the receipt because he gave me a deposit slip, and that was the circumstances of the loan. And I did want it back. It was never a gift.
He didn't say it was a gift. All right, now you tell me your end, Mr. Bona, and then I'll make a judgment. Go ahead.
All right, Your Honor. First of all, this is really not about money. It's about relationship issues.
Let me hear about the money first.
Okay.
You worry about the relationship. I'll worry about the money.
I was working for a company, and Janice here was with me when I was talking to the marketing guy about how the company was going to try to solicit investors for the software. She got excited about it and wanted to invest in it. I said, great. First of all, it's not my company, and she dealt with them directly, not I.
I did not, Your Honor.
Where did you put the money?
I did not take the money, Your Honor. She put it in the company herself.
Put it in your account.
I put it in his account. He gave me a deposit slip, and I put it in the bank in St. Cloud because he lives in Ham Lake, which is 60 miles away or so.
Well, did the money eventually find its way to your account, sir?
Not to me personally, no. Your
To whom?
I have a receipt.
Shh. To whom?
To the corporation I was working for.
Okay. Were you a shareholder in this corporation?
No.
Did they go out of business?
Correct.
When did they go out of business?
2000.
I was never notified. He never kept me informed about any business loan. It was not a business loan. It was
Sure
personal.
it was. You want to know why it was, Mr. Morris? And I'm going to tell you why. Because I read your complaint very carefully. This is what you said in your complaint. We discussed from the beginning that I would not get any money back for at least 2 or 3 years because that is how long he expected it would take to make a profit.
But
that's what you wrote. Bert, that is right, isn't it?
But after 2 years, he didn't even try to pay me back.
right.
He never called.
He doesn't. Listen to me. Listen to me.
Whatsoever.
This is what you wrote in your complaint, Mr. Morris. So this was money, whether it was an investment or a loan. It is clear to me that the intention was that you would get your money back when the company made a profit. Here are your words. I'm going to read them again, Mr. Morris. I'm going to read them again. We discussed from the beginning that I would not get my money back for at least 2 years because that is how long he expected it would take to make a profit.
Yeah, if he would call me up, keep me informed, and let me know what's going on. He never did anything like that.
Hey, it's your money, so you've got to be smart enough to call him.
Yeah, I guess.
You've got to be smart enough to call the company. That's your job.
Well,
That's your job.
He took advantage of me. He
So
really
take
did.
advantage of you. What does that have to do with me? You gave him money. You invested in either him or the company. Clearly, you expected to get money back. You expected
Yes,
to
I
get
did.
your money back
Yes,
from
I
the
did.
company.
Well,
Because
it
that's
was a
what you said in your sworn complaint. When the company made a profit, you expected to get your money back. That's what you said.
Well, I expected him to let me know what was going on. There was no papers filed about the company whatsoever.
My
I put it
dear,
in-
there were no papers filed that this was a loan.
And
There were no papers filed that this was a loan.
then I do have...
Mr. Bona, agreed to repay Mr. Morris $5,000 within 2 years because the money she gave me is a loan.
I have 2 personal receipts that were signed by him, too.
For?
$2,000 and $500 apiece.
That has nothing to do with this. What are you bringing this in for? I'll see those.
Okay.
Let me see. Let me see those.
He promised to pay me back.
Shh, just a second. What is it? Here you go. Now, this wasn't the $5,000. Is that right, Mr. Morris?
No, this is...
This wasn't the $5,000.
No.
So he promised to pay you these 2 things. I received $2,500 from Mr. Morris and promised to pay her back. I owe Janice DeMars $2,500 for 1 engagement ring set, right? Now,
Yes,
you're not
but
suing for any of this, but when He gives you a loan. He gives you a note.
But then when he agreed to come on the show, he comes over to my place and he goes, Janice, I'm going on the show for a favor for you. Just consider yourself a $5,000 hooker. And that's
Mr.
what
Morris,
you told me. It's
Mr.
ridiculous.
Morris, Mr. Morris, he may not be a nice person, madam.
No, he's not.
Very good. You gave him $5,000 anticipating this company was going to make money. It didn't make money, went out of business. You should have kept better
Where's
track
the
of your
proof?
money in case
Where's
it's
the
dismissed.
proof?
Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, it's totally unfair because it was not a business loan.
This woman is completely insane.
I feel like I should get my money back. I really do. I gave him that money and he's not going to have to pay me back.
I can't believe the lengths this woman has gone to sabotage my relationship with the woman I love.
He came over to my house and said, you know, I'm doing this as a favor for you.
The issue is about a relationship, not about money.
He kept on and off in a relationship, and that's why I waited, because I thought, you know, I was being nice.
She became addicted to me.
But it doesn't pay to be nice.
Some kind of sexual power, you know?
Real estate broker Karen Hesevik is suing Richard Boudreau and Mary Whitney for making a false complaint to her employer and causing her to be fired.
Order. All rise. Hello. Okay. Yeah, this is case number 244 on the calendar in the matter Hesevik versus Boudreau Whitney. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Ms. Hesevik, it is your complaint that because of the defendant's conduct in reporting certain behavior that really never happened on your part, that you lost your job. You want to be compensated for that. Is that
Yes,
correct?
that's correct.
And the defendants say that they had some business dealings with you. They found your conduct unacceptable. They reported that to your boss, and they had a legitimate right to do that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. What kind of business were you in?
I sold gutter cover to keep debris out of gutters.
And how long had you worked for them?
About 4 or 5 months.
How did you find the defendants, or they found you?
They called in, I think, on a radio ad.
Is that true?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Okay. What happened that caused you to call and make a complaint about the plaintiff?
Your Honor, basically it was just Karen's behavior. We were very interested in the product. It looked very good. And I expressed to her in the beginning.
Tell me what the product looks like.
It's actually a sheet metal device that goes over your gutter to deflect the needles and leaves off the gutter and allow the water to go in. Awesome product. Anyhow, we were very interested in the product. Karen came out to the house. We asked her to do an estimate. She left me with a tape and a sample of the product. I expressed to her that I wanted my wife to see the tape because she wasn't home at the time.
What date was that?
I believe that was the Saturday, the 24th, I believe was that was
Okay.
the date, yeah. Anyhow, she expressed to me that she needed the tape back. It was her last tape. And I clearly understood that and promised her we'd get it back to her. My wife got home late that evening, didn't get a chance to view the tape. The next day, she did, which was a Sunday. We in turn decided at that point that we had some friends that would be interested in the product as well. So we figured we'd hang on to it till Monday and get it back to her. Over the weekend, Karen left several nasty grams on my telephone, on my cell phone, expressing her desire to get the product back.
The tape back.
Right. Come Monday, she made a phone call or two to the house, which my wife, Whitney, answered, and she can tell you basically what took place
She called
there.
me on the phone. She called me on the phone and she says, I really need to get my tape back. And I said, well, I got a friend that owns a gutter company, and I wanted to let them see it to see if they thought it was credible, that it might work. And she goes, well, I really need to get my tape back. I says, well, do you only have one tape? She goes, yep, I only have one tape. I go, well, okay, fine. I said, come get it. And she did.
On what date did she come?
It was
in?
on Monday evening.
Okay.
Which would have been the 26th, Your Honor.
Okay,
Yeah,
so what
26.
happened when plaintiff came and got the tape?
At that point, Your Honor, I'd arrived home from work, and I got a knock on the door, and it was Karen. She was obviously upset. I said nothing at first, went and got the tape, handed it to her, and said, I apologize that you didn't get it back as quick as you wanted based on the messages I retrieved. She was obviously upset. She got cranky with me and, grabbed it out of my hands and was obviously not real happy about the whole thing. And I said, Karen, the product that you're representing is awesome. I love it. We're interested in it. But the way you're treating me, I'm not going to buy anything from you. Her response was, I don't want to sell you anything. And I said, fine. Then I asked her to leave or I'd call the police. Now, several days went by and I got a subpoena served to our house. And it referred to a Bruce Hesevik who was suing us for something. Now, I never met a Bruce. I haven't got a clue who Bruce was. So I was shocked. I didn't know what it was all about. In doing further research, I recognized the last name, which is on the back of her flyer, Hesevik and then Karen. So
What kind of subpoena did you get?
I got a small claim subpoena that said my wife and I, who she never met, Your Honor, were being sued for loss of income, libel, malicious behavior, slander, and so on.
May I see it, please?
Sure.
Now, in between during that week's period of time, had you in fact called the plaintiff's employer?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, you left that part out.
I beg your pardon,
sir.
ma'am. I did call the gutter people I spoke to, Mr. Steve And I expressed my interest in this product. And I said, a lady named Karen came to our house to show your product over the weekend. Left us a tape. We wanted to view the tape for a longer period of time. She took it back, was very upset with me for keeping it. Can you please send me another tape? And he said, well, you're saying Karen. And I'm saying, yes, Karen. He says, well, I have no Karen working for me. He goes, there is a Bruce that works for me in that area. You sure it wasn't a man? I says, no, it was a lady named Karen. Fine, I'll send you a copy of the tape. Then a short while after that, we had a sheriff come to our house looking for us. We weren't there. We had a PTA meeting. My boys told us.
And then you got served with
Served after, yep. Okay. And then I went down to the courthouse and filed for a jury trial, figuring I'm going to get this thing out in the open.
Okay, now I got you.
Bingo.
And it would be fair to say that in your conversation with Mr. you voiced some displeasure with the salesperson.
Absolutely.
You did. You said, I don't like the way I'm
Absolutely,
being treated. I didn't like the way I was treated.
No, I'm a sales manager, Your Honor, and I think when you want to make a sale, you're
Okay.
nice to people.
Bruce and Karen, same person?
Yes.
Okay, so that's both you. Now, when you went to work for this gutter cover company, did you interview with this Mr.
Yes. I actually did sales before I ever met him, and then,
for the same company?
yeah, I was working for the previous franchiser,
Okay.
and he came down after that. I sold several deals before that.
When you interviewed and worked for them previously, you worked for them as Bruce.
Right.
To your knowledge, did this Mr. know that you were also Karen?
We had talked about it. I called the office and said that there would be a person as Karen out there, and that my hair was long, and that people do see me as a woman.
You intend to maintain that persona?
Yes.
My problem, Ms. Hesevic, is that you seem to ascribe some behavior to the defendants, which is actionable. Why do you believe that they do not have a right to call your employer and say, I'm dissatisfied with the kind of treatment that I got from your rep. I like the product. I'm interested in buying the product. And if your employer decides, for whatever reason, to let you go, why do you feel as if you have the right to sue the defendants?
Because when I talked to Steve on Tuesday, he told me that the severity of their complaint against me was such that he had to believe that they were telling the truth. I told him they were not telling the truth, and then I told him exactly what happened. And as she said, she told me to come out and pick up the tape. On the phone call, she did not say that. She hung up on me. And I have copies of the phone call that was made to him. He said I made several threatening phone calls.
You went out there to get the tape?
Yes.
No, I said
What
nasty grams. I didn't say phone call.
Nasty grams.
Yeah, on my cell phone.
When you went out there to get the tape, tell me what happened.
Well, I got out of my car. Their kids yelled from the top of the deck that the lady from the gutter is here. And I heard her yelling at her kids, I don't want to talk to her. Tell them to go down to the basement door and talk to the father. And so they came out and told me that. So I went around under the deck into the basement door that they have there. He opened the door part way and handed me the tape, and he said some remarks to me. And I said, well, you promised to have it back to me by 5 p.m. on Saturday. I said, you never called? He said, oh, yes, I did. But I was at home from 3 o'clock all the way till 10 o'clock at night. There wasn't one phone call. I have a message machine on my machine.
There you go. That's why you didn't answer it.
And
Sorry.
no messages were even left.
Nope. That's
So?
true.
So, yeah.
So?
And, yeah, so he didn't call to say he wasn't going to meet me. He could have left a message machine on there. He knew that the
So what
tape
did you
was
say to
important. He made some comments, and then I told him that I had to use that for sales, and that as he knew I had appointments on Monday morning. I didn't get the tape till 7 o'clock Monday night.
And?
So he says, well, you're losing more business.
You forget the golden credo,
Yep.
which is the customer's always right.
Want me to deliver the damn tape? I'm sorry.
The customer's always right. Because you had a real live customer there. You had a customer who was really interested in your product.
$6,000.
Listen,
I'm sorry.
that's a hothead. Let me ask you this question. Why didn't you call Gutter and have them give you another tape?
I had sent a memo up to him on Monday morning saying that I needed another tape.
Why didn't you go there?
Oh, they're out of Seattle, and I'm in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, so they have to send it to you.
Yeah.
Why did you wait until you were down to your last tape?
I only had one tape all the time.
That sounds like a not very good policy. What happens if that
That's
tape?
all the company gives.
Well, that's kind of stupid.
Right, yeah.
You don't have a cause of action, Ms. Hesevic. He has an absolute right to call the company and say, I don't like her attitude. I don't like the way she spoke to me. I was interested in your product. I'm still interested in your product. He's not trying to put one over on these people. He's calling and saying, listen, your lady who you sent out here was rude. She took off. She doesn't want to do business with me. I'm still interested in doing business with your company. Send me another tape and send me another rep. And if by virtue of that statement, Mr. let you go as the rep for the company in your area, so be it. It may also have been that Mr., and I don't know, he's not here, was not happy about not knowing what gender person was going out. He thought it was one gender, and it turned out to be a different gender. That's possible, too. That coupled with what they said, listen, I don't need this aggravation. But they have a right to call.
Yes.
They have a right to make a complaint. That's what the First Amendment's all about. So your claim is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Basically, what happened as a result of this individual not being honest.
Some people can lie and get away with it.
Honesty is the best policy. You know, she should have been honest, and she wasn't.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Snyder versus Brooks. Step forward, please.
25-year-old hairstylist Jamie Ginsburg Schneider and her husband, Richard Schneider, are suing their neighbor, insurance agent Aaron Brooks, for destroying their entertainment system. The Schneiders say Aaron was watching their home while they were on vacation.
Mr. Schneider, the defendant is a neighbor of yours.
That's correct, ma'am.
And according to your complaint, you went away on vacation. Is this your wife?
Yes, ma'am.
And you had a house sitter there to take care of your dogs, and the defendant volunteered also to check on the dogs in the evening.
That's
She had a
correct.
key to your apartment. According to you, when you came a time when you discovered that some entertainment equipment was either damaged and or missing, or was substantial loss on your part for this entertainment equipment, some sort of game station, television receiver. Ms. Brooks says that there was a terrible storm. And when she came down to check on the dogs, she also checked on the
equipment, lights, everything.
and she found that the equipment wasn't working, so she took it up to her house, right?
Correct.
To do something with it. And she immediately, when questioned about it, put it back, and she doesn't know anything, right?
Correct.
Can I see the estimates for the damage?
Yes, ma'am. The first one is the original receipt for the game center. That was the replacement receipt, and this
Just
next
give me
receipt-
what it cost to replace it.
I believe the totals came to about $1,533. The game station was $213.
Right.
A television, $250. And for the replacement home theater, it came to $770.91.
What's the home theater?
That includes a home theater receiver as well as speakers, speaker wire.
Well, was all that destroyed?
No, ma'am, it wasn't destroyed. However, the speakers that went with the original one were incompatible with the newer model to replace that actual home theater receiver, so they needed to be purchased in order to work with the new receiver.
So my question to you, Ms. Brooks, is you had an agreement that you would come in the evening and check on the dogs. Is that right?
Yes.
What were you thinking about putting your hands on any of their equipment?
Well, we went in, Candace would watch TV there every night. I would go in and sit with the dog there and bring it up to my apartment.
Bring what up to your apartment?
The dog.
So you brought the dog up to your apartment. It's not what I asked you. You took entertainment equipment from their house to your house, and I'm asking you why.
Well, because all the lights were out and nothing was working in the apartment, and
So?
same thing in mine. So I did check their stuff. The Xbox would not come on. Everything else did.
Why did you take it to your apartment?
I wanted to see if it would work up there. I did not know what was wrong, and I just checked
Well,
it.
they didn't ask you to do that.
Well, I know that, but I took it upon myself to do that. There was other people in the apartment. 3 other people had keys.
That's okay.
It was 2
Just a second. I don't care. Other people did not take equipment. I mean, that's burglary. Madam, you had no permission to do that. You had limited permission. Your limited permission was to enter the house to look after the dogs. You had no permission to check the equipment. You had no permission to touch the equipment. No permission to remove it from the armoire where it had been housed. No permission to take it up to your apartment. No permission to try to see if it worked in your apartment. You had no permission to do that.
Your
That's
Honor.
burglary. What?
Miss Brooks also told us when we got home and noticed all the damage that she was entertaining friends the night that she took the equipment out of the house, and she did not want to bring the friends into our apartment for fear of something happening. So she decided to take the stuff upstairs to her house. That way they could use it in her apartment instead of
And you
being
had
in
this
ours.
conversation with her?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, what?
I did tell her that.
Why did you tell her that?
Because I was honest with her when I called her, and she
So then
called
why
me.
ded you just give me this story that you didn't take the stuff up there, you just took it up to see if it worked in your
I
apartment?
did. Well, we did have people over there. We
So
lived
you were
down there
playing
together.
with the equipment?
Yeah, we used it.
An idiot. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,233. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
You need to own up for your responsibilities.
Did not break it. I didn't do any of that.
Just make sure the people watching your belongings are trustworthy.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of LeBron versus Pat Bird. Step forward, please.
Receptionist Peggy LeBron is suing former friend, mechanical engineer Greg Patford, for walking through a plate glass window in her home. Peggy says Greg was drunk on vodka.
This case is really sort of interesting. Miss LeBron, your husband was arrested.
Yes.
Because he went to shoot some of your neighbor's dogs with a BB gun.
Correct.
And as the police were taking him away, he told you to go and get the defendant, who was a bail bondsman.
Well, before that, Your Honor, he came back into the house. He got into an altercation with the neighbors because they saw him shooting at their dog. He came back into the house and got a real gun and pointed it at the neighbors.
Oh, so this time he pointed a real gun.
Correct.
Bottom line is, as the police were taking him away, he told you to go get the defendant, who was a bail bondsman.
No, he knows bail bondsman.
Or he knows bail bondsman. So what did you do? Where did you go to get him?
He lived right around the corner from our house.
So according to you, you went and you got him and you invited him over to your house.
Correct.
And he sat there all day drinking vodka and orange juice. And he got drunk and proceeded to break a plate glass door in your house. And you want him to pay for the door.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
what this case is about. Do you understand?
I heard it. I just don't.
All right. Now, Miss LeBron, I have a couple of questions for you. They take your husband away. You go around the corner and you get Mr. Patberg. And what do you say to him?
I said that my husband was just arrested and that he wanted me to come get him because he knows bail bondsman.
And he said, okay, I'll come to your house?
Correct.
Now, did he come back to the house with you?
Yes.
What time of the day or evening was this?
It was early in the morning.
Now, when he got there, what did he say to you?
He called a bail bondsman.
And did he make arrangements?
Well, they had to wait until my husband was processed.
Now, where did he get this vodka from?
I don't remember exactly where he got it that day.
I'm
but
talking
he
about
always,
that day. That's the day that he...
He always drinks vodka.
No, I understand. I don't understand that he always drinks vodka. I'm talking about that day. That's the day when he broke the door. You say he sat in your house all day.
Mm-hmm.
Until what time?
Until after my husband was brought back to the house later that night.
So he was drinking all day?
Correct.
Whose vodka was he drinking?
His own. I don't drink vodka.
So he brought the bottle with him?
He would have had to have.
Where'd you get the vodka from?
I believe we went out later in the day and purchased it.
What do you mean you believe?
Well...
Shh! What do you mean you believe? You
Well-
got drunk. That was clear. That's what she says. That's what you say.
Yes, that's correct.
And you were drinking all day?
No, I was not drinking all day.
A part of the day?
A part of the day.
Where did you get the vodka from? Is my question.
From the liquor store.
Where was the liquor store?
Well, less than a mile away.
How did you get there?
Peggy gave me a ride.
Did you give him a ride to the liquor store?
I could have. I have before.
Were you drinking too?
Not vodka.
I don't care what you were drinking. Were you drinking too?
Beer.
So you don't remember whether you gave him a ride to the store? You could have.
I could have.
Let's say you did. Miss LeBron, you allowed him to get drunk in your house. What do you want from me? Should have said, take your vodka and go home. You're lucky he's not suing you for almost killing himself going through your plate glass door. This is a very easy lesson. If you allow someone to become inebriated in your house, and in this case, you don't even remember because you were probably so looped yourself, you don't even remember getting in your car and taking him to the liquor store. But if you permit him to get so drunk in your house that he staggers through a plate glass door, you are responsible. Totally responsible. You're not supposed to furnish a place where somebody can get so intoxicated that they can hurt themselves, certainly not cause damage to your place. They cause damage to your place. You pay for it. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy.
He got drunk and fell through my sliding glass door and broke it.
I'm not denying that I broke the door. I broke the door.
Figured he would take some responsibility for his own actions.
I did try and take responsibility for the door.
He hasn't lived up to his responsibility at all.
I went to the store, purchased plywood, and at least put plywood in replacement of the glass.
It wasn't because I was inebriated. I don't drink and drive.
25-year-old student Melanie Johnson is suing her ex-boyfriend, Mason Tony Wendling, for the return of property and for unpaid credit card bills. Tony is countersuing for damages to his car and for ruining the slipcovers on his couch.
Order. All rise. Now, this is case number 360 on the calendar in the matter of Johnson versus Wendling. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated.
Miss Johnson, you and the defendant lived together for a brief period of time. Is that right?
That's correct, Your
How
Honor.
long?
3 years.
According to your complaint, when he put you out, because he put you out of the house that you had been sharing, he kept certain property of yours. The property was a washing machine that had been given to you by your mother.
That's correct.
And in addition to that, you claim that he owes you for some credit card bills where he used your credit card, several $100s worth. He says that you can have your washing machine back, but you have to give him the $250 that he put into the washing machine. In addition, he says that the only thing that he charged on your credit card was a $60 pair of shoes. The defendant has a counterclaim. He says that you damaged his car at some point and that you shrunk his slip covers when you washed them because you were a poor laundress. Is that right, sir?
Yeah, she don't know how to do laundry.
Well, that's unfortunate. I'm sure she has attributes other than laundry.
Yeah, she does.
Good. So get over the slip covers. Now, when did you stop living together?
It was August the 5th, the day after the Brickyard 400 in Indianapolis.
All I heard was August the 5th. The rest of it I didn't hear.
Oh, I'm sorry, August the 5th.
Did you say anything after that?
Yeah, I said it was the day after the Brickyard 400. That's how I remember, but that's really not important.
August the 5th. Mr. Wendling,